Okay, so we're going to talk about how to join or create a team. On the dashboard, to the top right, you're going to click Join or Create Team. You're going to get the option here to create a team. On the left-hand side, hit Create Team. You have different types of teams. For your students, you want to create a class team. That class team has access to assignments and a grade book. It also has access to a class notebook. The other teams, these are for groups like professional learning communities. That comes with a OneNote. A staff notebook would be for like an administrator who creates a team for their teachers, and that has a staff notebook. This team does not come with a OneNote at all. It is just a team with the functionalities of posts, files, and tabs, and it can be used for clubs and extracurriculars. And I know one of the things that Lisa's doing is Battle of the Books, so that would be ideal for those kinds of things where you don't need access to the extra features like a notebook or OneNote. Okay, so you would create a class team. Name your class team. You can put any variation of your last name, right, period, or subject, and your grade level. Okay, and then you don't have to put a description. That's optional. And then down here, so I'm going to move this out the way. Down here, you click Next. And you're adding students. So in Miami-Dade, you're going to add students by their ID number. So I'm going to just type, so I'm typing in a name here, but I just want you to know that in Dade, it's by the ID number. So when you type in the ID number, the person will pop in and you click on them. And then you type in the second ID number and the person will pop in and you click on them. And then at the very end, you just hit Add. And now you have those students added to your team. Okay. And so as soon as it loads in, I'll click Close because now I have that team created and have those students added. So now you're inside of the team. I'm out of the landing page and I'm inside of the team that I just created. And I know that because the name of the team is here. So I'll show you some quick things that you can do inside of the team. When you click on the ellipses next to the name of the team, you can click on Manage Team. Manage Team allows you to see who's in the team. So you have students as members, okay, and you have you, the teacher, as the owner. You can certainly add members from here if you would like. Then you have your channels, and we'll talk about channels in a second. And you can also click here where it says change team picture, and you're able to select a picture that represents your team, and you can update it. And so that becomes like your thumbnail icon for the team. So you see it changes. You can upload your own picture if you'd like. You don't have to just stick to what was, what's there. So that's one of the things that you can do, a few of the things I would say that you could do under Manage Team. In the settings, you're going to see that option there, the team theme, member permissions, which is going to be very important. We're going to go over that. The team code. This option here is if you're not adding students directly, you want to share a code with them to add themselves to the team. You have to generate that code. And then other things here that you'll see at the bottom. But let's talk about member permissions. So remember, you are the team owner and the students are team members. So by default, they have certain permissions in a team. You want to look at what is enabled by default so that you can disable certain things. I would highly suggest that you don't give students the option to delete their messages. One, because you may have a student that types something inappropriate and then deletes it, and then there's no history of messaging. Or you may have a private channel where you have communication happening between you and the student, and then messages are deleted, so you don't have a thread to refer back to. So I would take that option off just so you have a history of messages. You can give them the option to edit their messages. So I would just keep these two options. and then kind of disable everything else. Like students should not be creating channels. Students should not be restoring channels or adding apps or anything like that. I would just keep this setting for the whole team very simple so that students are only able to edit their messages and you as the owner can delete all messages. Okay, so I'll pause there if any of you have any questions, and I'm gonna somebody just unmuted, so let me just mute everybody because I hear some background noise. Okay. I'm not seeing the chat because I'm not clicked in the chat, but Lisa, again, if there's any questions, just let me know. Anything at this point, guys? Yep.
Okay, so I have like 7 questions so far. The first one is, how can we ensure that files don't expire on Teams? I have a couple teachers that have posted some files and they want to make sure that they don't get lost in the mix or that they don't expire at any point. Do they stay permanently in the file section?
Yes, they do until they're deleted.
Okay, so until the teacher physically deletes them, it'll stay there and it'll always be a record of it.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. The second question was, how do you mute all kids during a Zoom class? I know we haven't gotten to Zoom yet, but that was one of the questions.
That would be in the Zoom app, so you have to refer to the Zoom manual for that.
Okay. The third question is how to post recorded meetings on the general class page. Now, I know you and I, when we've done a recording like we're doing now, it automatically posts afterwards. I think what the teacher wants to know more or less is if you wanted to maybe then post it in another block, like if you did one with one class.
I'll talk about that when we get into creating the online meetings. Just put a star next to it to remind me in case I don't mention it. But you can post recordings via a link within a team.
Stream.
Automatically within the team, anywhere in the team. The recording happens or is housed or lives in Microsoft Stream. So that's the video app, I guess you could say, that's available in Office 365. But from there, you can grab a link and put a link anywhere in the team. It would automatically be loaded into a team if you're having a meeting in a channel. And the meeting is actually inside of that channel. Right now, we're not doing a meeting in a channel. We are doing just a regular meeting that was scheduled through Outlook. And so this recording is actually going to be posted in the chat stream for us. Okay. But it's important to keep in mind that in Miami-Dade County, students do not have the private chatting option that we have enabled. So if you're having a meeting and chat's happening, students will not see that chat after the fact. Teachers will, students won't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. Hopefully the rest of them did. Okay, the next one is, I know the district auto-populated and auto-generated everyone's tabs. However, given that some classes have ELL populations with ESC populations, it's not like they have a nice clean block 1, block 2. So some teachers took it upon themselves to generate their own. Now they're finding that if they made a block 1 and they made a block 2, they're having to double post everything. Can they combine? If it was one that they created, can they merge those 2 tabs together?
There's no merging. You can't merge. What you can do is for the district created team, this is a recommendation, and a lot of the information that I'm going to talk about today is actually going to be in a series of webinars that I think you guys have PD days on Thursday and Friday, right?
Yes, we do.
So on those Thursdays and on Thursday and Friday, I created like a 6-chapter webinar series for the district that will address pretty much like the district stuff that you're asking and anything else that comes up here. But you can either create your own team, and if you're trying to add like all 25 students into one class, add them all into one class. Or you could take the largest class that you have from the district generated team, and then if you have multiple sections of that same class, right? So let's say I have 3 kids in one section, 2 kids in another section, and then 20 kids in one section. I would take the 20 kids section and make that my primary class. And then I would take the kids from the 2 and the 3 and add them manually into the 20 kids section. So it's almost like you're adding students into the district, you're basically adding students into the district generated one and then hiding others that you don't use. So it kind of takes some manual work, but you're trying to kind of shortcut it by just looking at the class that has the most populated students and then adding the students that are not in that class into the district class. That would be the easiest way to go instead of creating a brand new team and adding all 25 students like from scratch.
Right. But for a teacher who's already done that legwork and already created on her own, not the district one, but created her own block 1 and block 2, she can't merge those two. Once she made block 1 and 2, that's how they are.
Yeah, there's no merging. You can't merge.
Yeah.
Can't merge. You would just have to add the students to the team that you want to add them to.
Got it. Okay. Next question. How can my students communicate with me? Do they have rights to post on the main chat like we do on the Pinecrest Elementary team page? I created a channel for each student. Can they communicate with me in there?
Yes. So again, students don't have private chat enabled, but in a team. So if you notice here, when I created this team, at the top in the canvas, I have posts, files, and then other items here, which are called tabs, right? This whole section are called tabs. So I have the class notebook, the assignments, and the grades tab. Under posts, students can post. So if you created a private channel for just you and that one child, you and that student can have a persistent chat happening inside that private channel where only you and that student who is in the channel can see. Because students don't have private chat enabled, that would be the way to go to have those private conversations with students within the post section of a channel.
Okay. The next question is, how can I upload the same file to multiple teams?
The same file to multiple teams. So,
so I'm assuming they have more than one team for their classes.
So the best way to do that would be to add the file. If it's a file that you don't want students to edit and you want it to be read only, this class materials folder in the general channel is read only. Anything you add here is going to be read only for the students, even if it's a PowerPoint, a Word. So utilize the class materials folder to add things that you don't want students to edit. So the way to add that to multiple channels, because you can't just add to multiple channels from the file tab. What you'll have to do is add the file here first. So I'm going to just add something into the channel to put it there. So I click on materials. I'm going to click here on I'll click here on upload because I want to bring something in from my device. And I'm just going to bring in something from my device. So let me just bring this here. I'll just bring this. I have to select one thing. So I'm bringing that in, right? So that file is now here. So this file lives in the general channel in the class materials folder. There's no quick way for me to just, move it to the other channels within the file section. But as a post, I can. I could say here, notice that with posts, there's a little toolbar at the bottom. A quick tip for toolbar is to always select the A. The A expands the canvas so you can see all the tools you have available. Tools include making a post, an announcement. Making an announcement allows you to add a picture as a background or choose an illustration as a background. Okay, so I will say, pretend this is something that needs to go review with parents. And this needs to go to all my classes. So I am going to put, netiquette contract or something like that. Heading. And then here I can give the students a message. Another quick tip is to always @mention. @mention means I use the little @ sign that press shift and the number 2, it gives me that @ sign, kind of like what you do on Twitter. I always @mention the entire group. So when I @mention the entire group in a message, what that does is it will give them a notification up here in the top left on the app bar. That notification will tell them your teacher just sent you a message. If I don't @mention the group, then it's just on the channel, and the students, you know, unless they're checking every single day, it's not, they'll see it because it's posted there, but the at mentioning draws their attention to it. Okay.
Can you review how to do that at mention? I didn't quite get that.
Sure. So at mention, okay, whenever you're typing any kind of message to the whole group.
Right, which I've done.
So click on the at sign.
Click on the at sign, okay.
Just type the at sign and then type in the name of your class. So in my case, it's sing, and then it will populate.
Oh,
and then
excellent.
just click it.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
And so now I can, you know, type the rest of my message. So
okay, so that's why some students aren't realizing that I posted an announcement, because they might be down at the bottom of the scroll, but they didn't get that little message. So
the at mention will put their attention right to the post that you made.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Michelle, so one of the teachers is saying that she's uploaded the file to multiple teams, but she says that on the parent end, on their platform, they're receiving an error message saying this item may not exist or is no longer available. The item may have been deleted, or it's expired, or you don't have permission to view it. Any tips to troubleshoot that?
How is the parent viewing the file?
Yeah, on the parent end, or not the parent, but the kids, when the kids log in. They're saying that the file that the teachers posted is no longer available or expired, but there is no expiration for it. Is there, could that just be something
unless the teacher remove mute? Remember to mute yourself, guys, because I am gonna have to keep going to that mute all button. Unless the teacher deleted the file, then that file should be in the file section of Teams. Anything that's uploaded into the file section is there unless it is deleted by the teacher. So my first question is, how is the file being accessed by the student or parents?
It's being accessed by the parent because we teach kindergarten, so the kids can't really get into the files or open anything. So it's the parent going through the kid's profile through Teams, and they're trying to open it, and a lot of them are getting that error message, and then I go to my Teams and I see everything there. So I don't know why it's telling me it's not there. See it.
Right. So I guess I'm also asking how they're accessing Teams. Where are they going to access Teams? Are they using Internet Explorer? Are they using Edge? Are they using Chrome?
Most of them are using Chrome.
Okay, I would have to see like a screenshot of what that error looks like, because if you're seeing it on your end in the file section, it's the only way that they would have, you know, this file is not there or this path is broken is if you delete that file.
Do you think that it could be because the system has a lot of people logged in at the moment? Because another parent who happens to be a coworker of ours said that she was getting the same message on her end, and that she just kept refreshing it and going back, and finally it appeared.
So I did send some troubleshooting tips to Lisa, and I'll go over those with you. I would highly recommend that you ask your parents to download the Teams app on their device, okay? So not use Teams in the browser, they can, but using the app would be the first troubleshooting step.
Okay, thanks.
The second step would be making sure that they're using a more current browser, or switching browsers if it's not working in one browser. Do not use Internet Explorer. The third step would be to X out of the app and go back in.
Okay.
Kind of refreshing the app. Okay, the fourth step would be to restart the device altogether. So I would share those troubleshooting tips. If it's showing up on your end, because this is a collaborative space, if it's there on your side, it's there for everybody, because it's a collaborative space and people have the same view.
Right, that's what I thought.
The team.
Thank you for your help.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let me finish showing this.
I was gonna say
a file to multiple channels, and then because I don't want to get off topic here and not remember what I was doing here. Okay. So we were trying to here we were trying to see how we could share to multiple teams with one post, but a file. So in a post here, you can attach a file, and that file can be attached from a team or a channel that you have. So notice here that class materials folder, and I have this file that I just added. So I'm going to share it here in this post, right? So please review. Okay, but before I hit send, which is this little button here, what I want to do up here in the top right, where it says post in multiple channels, I'm going to select that option, and I'm going to select that I want to post it in the general channel of here, in the general channel of here, in the general channel of here. Okay, I want to post it in those multiple channels because I want this file to be present in all those channels. So this is the workaround, not having that option to have that file easily uploaded into multiple channels, into multiple file sections of it at the same time. I have to post it through an announcement or post. Okay. Okay, Lisa, go ahead now.
Actually, no, we're good. As far as questions, go ahead and continue because the other few questions that have popped up can wait a little bit because I know that I don't want to run over time. And I know that a lot of teachers are past this point and need more clarification on using the Zoom as an app and using things like whiteboard. I think that's going to be very helpful for my content area teachers. And then
the time
teachers, mute yourself. Because I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Right now, it should just be Michelle and myself, and then add to the chat any questions, and I'm writing them down as we're going through, I promise. Please don't keep texting me or emailing me because I can't be between 3 different screens. I can't be on my phone, on my email, and then I need to kind of like be in one section so that I can keep track. So just put your questions here, and I will go ahead and write them down. I promise I have a little pad here where I'm jotting them all down, okay? So go ahead, Michelle. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so there's no backfeed here.
Okay, and just so you know, find that little bar, and this is the mute button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just so you know. And what's our time frame, Lisa? I don't know what the end time is.
We did till 12:30, but honestly, I mean, if you finish before, that's fine.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we address. We did the creating of the class, but now for those teachers who, like I said, are a little more proficient and want to get past the class part, how can they maximize all the different apps that are built into Teams?
Okay, so we're going to get to that. So I showed you how to create the class. I showed you how to add a post and an announcement. I'm going to show you now with the channels. The general channel, like I said, is default created. You can moderate channels, meaning you can moderate what the students can do in a channel. So if you click the ellipses on any channel, there's something that says manage channel. In the general channel, usually the general channel should be kept for teachers to put important content, right, that the students need to see, like daily announcements would be an example. The general channel can get very crowded, and it is the first channel that people see when they log into the team. So my recommendation for the general channel is to change the permission so only owners can post. That way, the general channel serves as like an announcement space for students to go to see what's new for the day in that particular class. So again, you're clicking on the channel ellipsis, manage channel, and you'll select only owners can post. Okay. If you add channels to your team, you do that by clicking the ellipses next to the name of the team, select add channel. And for this one, let's just call it online discussions. Okay. Don't have to put a description, but here where it says privacy, if you want the channel to be accessible to the whole class, keep it at standard. If this is a channel that you're creating as a private space for just you and a particular student to have this private space, because maybe that student has an IEP or an EP or is a second language learner, then you have to change the permissions from standard to private. Okay. So I'm just showing that to you so you know how to create a private channel. In this case, I'm going to keep this online discussion channel as a standard channel. And down here at the bottom, this is important. We always overlook this. Automatically show this channel in everyone's channel list. Make sure you tick that off because that is going to show the channel in the student's list and not hide it for the student. So I'm going to click here, add, and you're going to see the channel populate on the left-hand side. So it's here. Every student should be able to see when they log in the general channel and the online discussion channel. Now I'm going to add another channel to show you what this private channel looks like. So this private channel, I'm going to just put private, and I'm going to put students one. Again, private channeling is between you and individual students, or if you want to create, small groups because students are working on a group project, you can create private channels for those small groups. And then I'm going to hover down here to privacy, and I'm going to select private. Okay. Notice that little option to show or hide disappears because a private channel is only visible to the teacher and the student who is in that channel. So the next step in a private channel is to actually add who you want to be in that private channel. So what I'm going to do is, let me see. Yep, I added Tony. I want Tony to be in that channel. I added Tony to the team in general, so he's able to be in that channel. If I tried to find someone who was not in the team, well, she was in the team. If you try to find someone who is not a part of the grand team, they will not be able to be in the private channel. You have to be a member of the whole team to be in a private channel. Okay, when you press add, you would have gotten an error. So I'm going to add Tony. So now Tony is in this private channel. So Tony will see general, online discussions, and student one because he's student one. If I'm student two, I'm only going to see general and online discussion. I was not added to the private channel, so I'm not going to see it. And if you notice that the private channel has a little padlock to indicate that it is a private channel. Okay. So you have your channels, and you can adjust you can modify the channels as well. So you modify the general channel. Let's say for this online discussion channel, this is where I'm going to post discussion topics, and I want students to be able to reply to those discussion topics. Under channel modification, I have options where I can monitor or I can modify what the students can do in a channel. So if I want to turn on channel modification, okay, it tells me that I am the team owner, okay? I'm the only one who can do certain things in the channel. Do I want to allow members to reply to messages? Yes, this is a discussion channel, so I do want students who are the members to reply. The other two options you don't have to worry about because these are not things that you're going to be doing within your team, like in terms of bots and connectors. You're not going to have those things attached to your team to submit messages. So I would turn the moderation on and allow members to reply to messages. This is ideal for a discussion channel because what will happen is if you post a discussion topic and this option is not on, students will be able to create a new thread, and then it won't be a part of the discussion thread, and it kind of throws the organization and how you're following that particular discussion thread within that channel. So that's what I would recommend, but not for every channel. It just depends on the purpose of your channel. Okay. So again, clicking the ellipses will give you all the options that you need for the team. So I would just say explore what these options are when you click them, but they're pretty self-explanatory. So what I want to show you next is how to navigate and how to utilize the other tabs that you have available. I'm going to go to the general tab because in the general tab, that's where I have like the assignments and the grades, and like I said, that class materials folder and the class notebook if you choose to do that. So I'm going to click on the files tab, and in the files section, again, that class materials folder is read only. You put content in that read only section where you don't want students to edit. In the files tab, you can always create a new file. So if let's say you have the students are working on a presentation, a group presentation, and you have assigned group one, they are doing Mars, okay? They're doing the solar system, okay? And you create a PowerPoint for them. That PowerPoint, remember, it's not inside of the class materials folder. And so it will be editable for everybody in that team. But if you indicate that this is for group one, then group one will know to go to this one. If you, again, you can do it for however many groups you have. Group two, Earth. Okay, and so on and so forth. So the files that you add are blank files. And the purpose of adding these blank files is for editing purposes, for students to be able to create and edit and collaborate on these files together. Okay, so yes, I'm trying to find my little close button is hidden somewhere over here, and I'm in the screen, so it's, let me see if I can minimize this. There it is. Hopefully that's not too small for you. Some of my buttons were hidden and I couldn't see them. Okay, so you can see that these two files are there and the students can refer to them. So you can add new files, any one of these files, and you can upload from your device. If you had a file from your device and you wanted to add that here, you can add that right in there. Okay. And that's pretty much what you'll be doing within the file section. You can even customize the file section by adding folders and content into those folders and organizing them in that way. Okay, so that's really all I will share about files.
Michelle, I have two questions relevant to this section.
Sure.
I created a folder for this week, for example, but I had some files already there from last week. I wanted to create a file for last week and drag those. So for example, how you have group 1 and group 2, can you click those and drag it into the class materials folder? Because I tried that and it didn't work.
Let me see if there's an option to move it. So if I click on the ellipses and I click move, then it asks me where do I want to move it, and then I can select. Yeah.
Perfect. And then my other question is, if I upload a file and it's a PDF file, can the students manipulate a PDF file?
No.
Okay.
PDFs are not editable. They're read only.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So are we good? I think we're good with files. All right. So we're going to move to the next tab. So we have posts and files. So posts and files are a great way to share content with students. Okay. Again, you can link files within posts the way I showed you earlier. And within posts, you can post, discussion topics or make announcements for students to respond and have rich discussions. Now we're going to take a look at Class Notebook I don't know how many of you use it, but I just want to show you this option. Let's see. So here, if you decide that you're going to use a Class Notebook, you can create a blank one. If you're not going to use if you already use Class Notebook and you have content, you can bring that in so you don't have to start from scratch. So I just wanted to show you this option. So Class Notebook gives you the option to create a brand new one or bring in content from an existing one that you have. Okay, that's really as much as I'll say about the Class Notebook, because not many people utilize it in the teams. Okay, so next we'll look at assignments, which is the next tab.
Ask a quick question about that Class Notebook. Okay, so I've been using Edmodo, and it said this morning when I posted it on a notebook that it was going into Teams, that it automatically went to Teams. Is that correct?
Your post from Edmodo went into Teams?
Yes, it said when I posted on the notebook, it said it is going to Teams, but I don't know where it is.
It may put it as an announcement. I'm not sure about the Edmodo features. That may be something that you have to look up under the Edmodo help. But I'm thinking, was it an assignment? Or was it just a post?
It was an assignment under notes.
So it could have gone as a post, or it could have gone in the assignments tab. I really don't know with that integration with Edmodo.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So let's take a look at assignments here. This is where you would create work and distribute it to students. And it's actually a pretty robust with what you can do with assignments. So I'm going to click Get Started. And it asks me, what do I want to do? Create. You have three options. You can create an assignment, create a quiz, or choose from an existing assignment that you've already created. So the option here for quiz actually pulls in from your Microsoft Forms. So if you have forms quizzes already created, you can bring that in as an assignment. And the students, if it's a quiz, it's auto-graded. unless you have short answers on that quiz. But you can, this is what the assignment would look like, right? You would give it a title, and the title will populate from whatever the name of that forms is. You can enter instructions here if you would like for the students to have, and, you know, points possible. Those things auto-populate from the form itself. And down here at the bottom, I want to go over this once I go over creating a new assignment, but that's how simple it is to bring in an assignment from Microsoft Forms. And I'm going to click assign, and now that assignment has been assigned to the class, and the students will get notified that they have an assignment. So the other one is to create an assignment from scratch. So I'm going to click that option. So it's blank here. So you enter a title. So let's say for this assignment, I want to do it as the discussion post, or this, I don't know. Okay, group projects, solar system group projects, since that's what we added in the files. Okay, so that's the title. Here, I can provide specific instructions for students. Down here where it says add resources, this is really what counts. This allows you to bring in resources to help differentiate for students. So you can bring in specific resources that you have from your OneDrive. This is your OneDrive for business and date schools. And if you have files in that, you'll be able to bring those in. And it brings in a copy, not the actual document that is in your drive to be edited. If you have items within your class notebook, you can pull in those pages from your class notebook. If you have a website link, maybe it's a link to like a Discovery Education video or an Edpuzzle video or Kahoot review, or, you know, whatever that link is, this is a resource that you could provide to the students, or a website that you could provide to the students so they have it as a reference for the assignment. This option here for new file, this is actually pretty cool, because if you are assigning the student, let's say you are assigning the student a Word document, they have to write a paragraph. If you add a new file, someone has to mute. RB. If you add a new file, it will create, I'm just going to give it a title, paragraph response. It will give each student their own copy of that Word document to submit for the assignment, instead of the student having to go into Word, type their response, save it, and then upload it. This saves all of those steps when you add the file in the attachment as a blank file. Okay, so I attach that, and now that's there. And again, the students will get their own copy to edit. And I can still continue to add additional resources. Let's say I have resources that are in the team that I want to bring in. I can do that as well. Again, this is such a very valuable tool here, because this is where you can differentiate. And also uploading from your device. If you have something from your device, you can easily upload it within that particular assignment. Go ahead.
I wanted you to highlight that part down at the bottom left, the upload from device, because I know many of our teachers, some do use Office 365 consistently. I know in the upper grades, they have the kids use Office 365 a lot. They do SharePoint, they do PowerPoints like that. Their science projects are like that. But for a lot of my teachers that have, let's say, personal documents, that they've made their own quizzes, they've made their own notebook pages, or let's say study sheets, they can upload those using that if they have it on their external device, correct? Like a USB or some kind of hard drive.
Absolutely. So let me cancel this one and show you at the bottom again here.
Thank you.
Bottom left, click upload device. It goes to your file explorer, which is connected to your device. So if you have a USB plugged in, a portable hard drive plugged in, you know, you have all your files on your computer, you're easily able to bring in that file. So I'm going to just select this as a file, and now that file is being brought in. And so now the students have two resources to refer to for this assignment. Okay.
Perfect.
And you can
Thank you so much.
continue to add resources if you need to. So again, resources, I just love that option so much. It really has that element of differentiation in it where you can provide resources to students for them to review. If they need it, it's there. If they don't, they just do the assignment. Okay. The other option that teachers have is to add a rubric. Now the rubrics can be created. I would just recommend creating a new rubric. The upload option, it has to be a CSV file. And the reality is, I mean, we don't have CSV files with rubrics, right? I mean, that's just the reality. Our rubrics are in Word documents or PDFs or whatever it is. So I always go here to the new rubric option. And the first thing I do is I turn the yes option on here because this will evenly distribute the weights. So I don't have to figure out the math part of it. For me, as a language arts person, that's a lifesaver. So I put the title, put the description. Here I can add what the description is and what those criterion look like within, you know, the excellent, good, fair, and poor scale. And I can add, and if you notice when I add, now it went to 50%. Here, if I add 33%, and you can see how it's evenly distributing automatically based on what you add here for your categories for the rubric, okay? And it's blank, yes, but document, copy and paste from your Word or your PDF into here, and now you have that rubric as part of your grade book or your assignments tab, so you can use that rubric often. So a rubric to use would be like a discussion rubric, right? You're gonna probably have discussions with students and you can refer to that rubric very often because that rubric for discussions probably will not change, all right? So once you go through all of that, you add your resources, you create your rubric. Now we get into the assigning. Who do we assign it to? Automatically, by default, it's going to be, what's going to show up here is the class that you're in currently. But let's say I want to assign to multiple classes because, you know, multiple classes will get this assignment. I'm going to click the little bubble here, the 2 squares it looks like, and it will allow me to choose another class or additional classes to distribute that assignment to. So now that assignment is being distributed to 4 classes instead of just the 1 class. So again, I click the drop down and then all the teams that I have, class teams will populate. All the class teams that I have will populate. And then I choose what I want. Okay. Now, if I wanted to assign to particular students, so this is an assignment, an extra credit assignment that only certain students will get. I will be able to, over here on the right-hand side, assign it to particular students. So I'm only going to assign this to Danielle. Okay, not Tony. So she gets it. Tony doesn't get it. So that person or those groups of that individual student or small groups of students will get it. The caveat to assigning to individual students is you have to only be in a particular class, right? Because if you choose multiple classes, you don't have that option to select students individually. You have to be in one class at a time to assign to individual students. Okay, so I hope you guys understand what I meant by that. The next thing would be just to choose your due date and the time. And just note here at the bottom, assignment will post immediately with late turn-in allowed. There's a little edit option here where you can edit the timing. So you have the schedule for assigning it, the due date, and then there's even a close date and a close time that cuts it off. Late turn-ins not allowed after the close date. So that's what that option is. So assignment is ready. I'm going to click assign. Let me get out of this. And now I have 2 assignments here that the students can view. So I'm going to click on that assignment and notice at the top I have some options. I can edit the assignment to add more details to it if I want. I can view it the way the students would view it. And this is what the students will view when they see the assignment. They see the reference materials that you've provided. They see the student work because that's the new document that you've assigned. If you had assigned points to it, it would show up here. And anything else that you would have included would have been listed there. At the top right, this little icon here is called the immersive reader. I don't think that I shared my system audio, so I don't know if you guys will hear it. I may have to share and unshare. So just bear with me for one quick second. Let me share. Yep. And unshare. Okay, sorry. Let me go back to team. You get to see my little baby doggy. All right, so let me go back to the assignments tab. So I'm going to click on solar system and I'm going to click on student view, and I was here under immersive reader. So the immersive reader reads
Solar System Group Project, due March 31st.
So immersive reader is one of the incredible accessibility features that is available across Office 365. So it is part of Teams in certain areas. And that little icon that you saw is when immersive reader is available in Teams, that icon is there. So it can be read out loud. The speed and the voices can change. So if I wanted to go faster or slower, male, female, by clicking these options up here, I'm able to make different adjustments to the sizing, to the shapes, to the contrast for students who need that. I have grammar options here. Parts of speech will be highlighted. Syllables will be broken up. And then this part I love, there is a translation in over 60 languages. So I can choose a language, French, and I can translate by word. Oh.
Projet.
Okay, or I can translate the entire document.
Projet de groupe du système solaire. Du mars 2031.
Okay, so that is just a quick preview of the immersive reader, and this icon is what students would look for to see that immersive reader is part of whatever it is that they're using. Now, immersive reader is available in other apps too, like if students use Nearpod, that's available in Nearpod. It's available in Microsoft Forms. It's available in Word. So it's in different places. It's available in OneNote, okay? So that is how you would create an assignment. Once the assignment is created and you have all your students, you can click on, the actual name of the assignment. Obviously, you guys will have more assignments listed here. So I can click on the actual name of the assignment here, and I will get like an assignment overview of who's turned it in or what's the status of the assignment. And then there's a little feedback button here if you want to enter feedback for the student. Okay, and this is where you would see the progress of that assignment. Now, when I go to grades, this will tell me all of the assignments that have been turned in, by the student. And it will give me what that's, what the actual score is because it's been graded, or if they missed it. So if I wanted to click on a particular student, I can click on that student and get an overview. I want to show you a better view of that because I don't have many students attached to me there, and I want to show you what it actually looks like in a real class. So let me see if I can grab that photo. I might have to open it in another. So give me just one quick second. I just want to show that to you so you could see it and what it would look like really for you. Okay. All right. So any questions about assignments or grades while we're here? Anything? I'll pause here so that you can ask those questions because I know I said a lot about assignments. Lisa, anything?
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple questions here for you. Okay. So one of the questions, not necessarily with assignments, but I know it was asked, and I think I answered it in the chat, but I just want to make sure that you corroborate what I was saying. Mm-hmm. It was asked, is there a benefit to creating one channel per teacher rather than having a block 1 or a block 2? And I know you and I had talked about that. I answered, it would be best if you're an English language arts teacher, just make one for language arts, put all your blocks in there so you're posting everything into just one team. And the same goes for your reading. Make one team for reading, your block 1 and your block 2 both in there, so you're just having to post in one area for both your reading classes. And the same would go for math and science and social studies respectively. Is there another benefit to just creating one team for both blocks that you can think of, or is it just a personal choice?
I think it's a personal choice. I think I would have gone the other route, right? Because if I teach math, English, reading, science to block 1, and block 1 has 20 kids, I would put all of those in one team. Because within the team, you can make a post and add it to multiple channels. Like my organization would be just to put that group that works together that in one team, and then the other team would have the other group that works together. That would, for me, it sounds more like, when you teach secondary and you have period 1, period 2, period 3.
Yes.
You may teach the exact same thing, period 1 and 2, but they're 2 different groups of students. So I would want period 1 to be in one class and period 2 to be in another class. But it really boils down to preference. That's what it boils down to. It's how the teacher would want to disseminate information and how the teacher would want their students organized.
And if the teacher does decide to do both her block 1 and her block 2 into one ELA team, could she then create a channel for block 1 within that and a channel for block 2 to have different posts with them?
Yeah, she could.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't done that yet, that is one option if you would like. I was thinking that would be the best option if it was me personally, but everyone's different.
And she could, let's say block 1, she wanted to make block 1 a private channel and only add block 1 students to that channel, and then block 2 another private channel and only add block 2 students. That would at least keep them separate in case she has information to give to block 1 that does not relate to block 2, that could be posted in the private channeling.
Okay, perfect. Another question that came up was how to assign something to students, and then students, and I know you went over the assigning, but then the other part of that question was how can students submit their answers or assignments? In other words, how can they turn it into the teacher? One teacher said, can they submit to you, like you had said, like a Word document? Or I know kindergarten was saying, could they submit like a photo where it's a picture of the kids' journal responses so they could see their actual handwriting and whatnot?
Yeah, it could be a photo. So they would have to go to the assignments tab for the student to see the assignments that have been assigned to them, because I don't know what other word to use.
Right.
And then they click on it and there's an option to submit from the student's end. And so if they're submitting a Word document, it would be attached. If they're submitting a picture, it could be uploaded. Right? So the student would just have to go to the assignments tab to see what's been assigned to them.
Awesome. I know for kinder that's helpful.
I have been practicing by assigning things to Melody. And then I have her open it on her Teams to see what it looks like when she gets her assignment. So basically, if it's a Word document and the student opens the Word document, they can type on it right away. They can type directly on it. It saves it. When they press close on that document, on the next screen, it says turn in. Yep. And then when they click turn in, it comes right to the teacher. So that's how I've found, like with the quiz, with the assignment, everything that I've given her, when she opens it, she types on it, she presses close. There's nowhere for it to say save. She just presses close, it saves it automatically, and then on the next screen, she clicks turn in.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Thank you for sharing that. That's why it's so important as a resource to attach those new files. That will give the students a place to type in whatever it is they need to type in. So yes, that is exactly correct. Now, again, if you want to assess something different like handwriting, and they have to take a picture themselves, then that's something that they have to upload to the assignment. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Okay, so another question was, can you make a channel that has already been created into a private channel?
No.
So if So if they made it public, it stays public. Yeah, they'd have to delete that and then make another one that would be private.
Yep. And vice versa. You can't make a private public.
Right. I had a feeling. Okay, so that was for Miss Maestas. All right, the next question.
That one. Lisa, quick follow-up. So if you have a channel and you want it private, you have to delete it. You can't rename it the same name, right? Like if your student is named Sarah and you delete a general channel and you want to make a private channel, you can't reuse that, right?
Right. You can't reuse the name. Hey, Alyssa, you have you have to either, so if there's content in that channel that you don't want to lose by deleting it right away, I would rename the channel and then create the private channel with the name that you actually want, you know, get whatever you need, and then delete the old channel. You know, you get what I'm saying? Because
and you can transfer the content or no?
No, not transfer. Like if you needed to download anything, it's not going to allow you to transfer anything. There's like no merging or transferring of any kind like that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. So yes, once the channel is named, it's not going to allow you to create another channel with the same name. That goes for private and public.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Another question, and this was from, I believe, Gloria Diaz. And so, Gloria, if you want to chime in, if I'm not repeating your question properly, but I wrote down, she wants to know if parents have the ability to scan and upload their work. Can the teacher, she wrote, can the teacher drag it into here? But I don't know where here was when you wrote that, Gloria. Do you want to chime in for a second?
What I did is I had my parents upload, and then to my email, I would have to save it and rename it, and I put it into folders. Could they just do it automatically into here, upload it straight into here, or they would have to submit it?
They would have to click on, what are they submitting? Assignments?
Assignments, like worksheets or whatever I assign.
Yeah, so you create an assignment and they click on that assignment option, just like the other teacher explained before, and they would just submit that assignment. They upload whatever attachments they want to that assignment's to that particular assignment. Okay. So that way they don't have to email you anything. It's
and then
just
I have to rename everything.
And it's easy for you to see, like, this student turned it in, this student did not. You know what I mean? It's easy for you to see that.
These are all great questions, ladies. The whole point of this is for you guys to find one platform that can basically streamline everything. Right. So if you wanted to assign a link to the Brain Pop video or to a Discovery Education video, everything would be here so that for parents, they're only having to access one platform and navigate through this. It's not an email from this teacher, an email from this teacher, an email from this teacher, and it becomes overwhelming, especially for parents that have not just one, but multiple kids, 3 and 4 kids, right?
So just to clarify, if they go into their assignment and they view the document, they can actually work on it right there and submit it right from the assignment.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm showing you on this screen what a grade book is, should look like, because this one is one with multiple students. And so you can see across the names of the assignments and the scores that were earned by the student. And then if you click on a particular student, it gives you what's called a student progress, individual student progress. So you can see every assignment they've done, their status on the assignment, any feedback you may have provided, and their total score. So this is what it would look like for you ideally. Okay.
The last question before I let you move on was, is there a max number of students that we can have in a team? So for example,
what's the max number, but it's like in the tens of thousands. Like, you're not going to exceed that.
Okay. So for Gutierrez, I know that was your question. You can go ahead and add, if you wanted all 4 of your math classes to just one team. And then if you wanted to within that, create different channels for each team. If there's one team that, let's say, or sorry, one group, let's say period 2, that needs more remediation than another and whatnot.
Yeah, Ronnie just told me, thanks.
Okay. All right. All right, Michelle. Wonderful.
All right. So far, so good. So we've talked about, let me jump back into team here. So we've talked about posts, files, briefly about class notebook. We talked about assignments, and then I showed you the grade view on the slideshow. Let me go to your list, your agenda topics here, so that I can see, or if do you have that open?
I don't have it open, but I know that one of the things I mentioned was also how could teachers now at the bottom left corner on our navigation bar, where it lets you select apps, how to show them Zoom, how to show them whiteboard, because I know for our math teachers, particularly, and science teachers, a lot of the content has to be explained and kind of modeled, especially for the math.
So there's 2 things that I'll show you. One is the tabs button. I forgot about that. And the next one that I'm going to show you is the meetings, and then I'll show you apps after. So here, this little plus sign, that plus sign is part of each channel. So if I go to my online discussion, the 3 things that I'm going to see are files, post files, notes, and then this plus sign. And again, that's across the board on every channel. So it allows you to have those conversations or posts or announcements specific to the channel topics, add files specific to the channel topics, and then add tabs and notes specific to those channel topics. Tabs are a way for you to bring in third-party applications and other Office 365 applications. So if you have Nearpod, or if you use Discovery Ed, right, you can bring these in as a tab. It could be maybe you're posting a Flipgrid activity that you want the students to do in that particular channel. You add the Flipgrid tab there and it shows up at the top. So, or if you have, let's say there's a stream video tutorial that you made that you want the students to view, you can add that there. So I'm going to show you really quick how to add a website, because that's a very popular tab to add, because a lot of times we use external applications that the students need to access via a link, and the links are so long we can't share it with them, or they get it mixed up. So the best way to do that is by adding a website tab. So I'm going to click on the website. It's going to ask me what I want to name it. So in this case, I'm just going to name it Distance Learning, because this is the one I'm thinking about. And here, the URL, always do the HTTPS. I would actually just copy and paste the exact website. https://distancelearning.dadeschools.net. And so now this tab is going to appear here at the top. And so the students will see it, and when they see it, it takes them directly to that site. Depending on how they're logged in, like, what security features, it may ask that they go to the site directly or reload the tab, but the content for that site loads ideally here for them. And so the tab option is just for you to be able to kind of curate these resources for students and post them in a place for them that's easily accessible, because we share lots of things with them. We have lots of apps that we use that we are getting our content from. It could be the online textbook, and maybe there's a link to some resource from there, and we need to put it as a tab. So I just wanted to show you tabs, because this is another way to distribute content to students. So clicking that plus sign and then selecting whatever, if you use Quizzes, that's one of the options here. If you use Wakelet, that's one of the options there. You can bring those directly in to the in the team and integrate well within the team here. Okay, so that is what I'll say about tabs. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is, let's just talk about meetings, right? You have been asking about the Zoom option for meetings. So what I can share, whoops, I lost my mouse. Okay, one second, my mouse, my screen froze on the side, so I have to use touch right now. Okay, so when I click the apps button here at the bottom left, I can do Zoom is right there, but I can do a search at the top for Zoom, and that app will be right there. And so I'm able to add that Zoom app. It's already added for me, so that's why it says open, but I'm able to add that Zoom app within the team so that I can have more secure team meetings within the Zoom app. So what that looks like, there's going to be an authentication process when you first kind of add that add-in, because you have to go through the sign-in process. It's going to ask you to sign in. You do your Dade, your Dade School single sign-on. It's going to ask you to give permission for Microsoft to use Zoom within Microsoft Teams, you're going to agree to that. So it's going to go through kind of like a series of authentication steps. And once you do, what's going to happen is you're going to see down here at the bottom, do you see how this camera is a little dark in my tab down here at the bottom? It's a darker camera than probably what you see on your end. This is the Zoom camera. And so when that is added here, I can actually schedule a Zoom meeting and start a Zoom meeting within a channel. And it will generate the Zoom ID for the students to be able to log into that Zoom meeting. And it will actually post it on the channel. So I'm going to go here so you can see what that post looks like, right? And it posts it on the channel there for students to be able to join. Now, the reason that we have this integration with Teams with Zoom is because of security. Someone mentioned earlier there has been lots of Zoom bombing. That's what they're calling it, where you have strangers popping into these online sessions with students and they're posting inappropriate content and language and, you know, just really disrupting the safety and the learning of students. And that's because you can enter a Zoom meeting with just having the Zoom number, right? There's no logging in, no authenticating, but with using Zoom and Teams, there is an authentication where students are going to have to use their Office 365 login to get in. So that extra layer of login is like an extra layer of security that prevents the things like with the Zoom bombing. Okay, so I mean, that's pretty much those are pretty much the steps to add the Zoom app, right? I don't know if you guys have questions related to that, but that's as far as I can take it, because I can't answer questions about Zoom itself.
Okay, perfect. Another thing is the whiteboard. I know that was another app or another extension. That's also, I believe, on our, just like we have Stream on our Office 365, there's also whiteboard on there, but I believe you can add that here as an app. Is there a way that you know of, Michelle, for the teachers, if they're not on a device where they can touch screen and write, is there a way for them to be able to use the whiteboard other than just with the mouse? And can you show them how to add the whiteboard?
Yeah, in a call you can when you share your screen. So this is, let me project. I'm going to do it again. I want to show it to you on my end. So let me do this. Let me unshare and share the PowerPoint, okay? And that way I can show you what to do, because I can't show it to you while I'm in a call. And I'm already sharing my screen. I have to show you pictures of it. So give me a second. Let me kind of get that together and show it to you. Okay, perfect. I'm going to share my screen right now.
And while you're doing that, we did have another question pop up about Zoom. If you do start a Zoom meeting like that, does it put all the owners in the Zoom meeting? In other words, could we have one class with 2 teachers in it and would want to make sure that both teachers would be in it as well?
It would be for whoever's the owner of that class. That's the person that starts the meeting.
Correct. So you can just invite another teacher, your peer partner, correct, along with the student.
With the code that is provided, yes, you can.
Right, the meeting ID number. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get that, Christy?
So let me go back to where's the team here, and I'm
yes, I got it. Thank you.
Share my screen.
Perfect.
Desktop 1. You guys see this? See my screen yet?
Yes, we do. We see it, Michelle.
Okay. So we were talking about sharing screens. Okay, so I wanted to kind of go through some of the steps with those of you that are using online meetings for within the Teams itself. Someone had asked how, it was earlier today, how can you kind of manage the students with, you know, with these online meetings? And so there is actually a lobby that exists whenever you set up a Teams meeting. And by clicking where it says meeting options and the Teams link that's generated automatically, it takes you to the lobby. And this is where you can make students just attendees, where only you can present or only you can mute. This would prevent that student from being able to mute all, right? And so by making them attendees, which you will do by making yourself the presenter, that prevents a lot of the interruptions that students are causing in meetings. So just so you know, whenever you create a Teams meeting, there's always that meeting options link there that takes you to the lobby for you to make those adjustments. It prevents students from coming in anonymously. Like if you select the option, you can bypass the lobby. People in my organization, when students are logged in with their Office 365, they are automatically in. But if they log in, let's say with their Gmail, and they put a weird name and you don't know who they are, you can kick them out because you can require that they use their Office 365 so that you know exactly who they are. Okay. Just some other quick things related to the participant control. And you see that I can click on the little people button to see all the members of that meeting, and I can make someone an attendee from that point. Okay, I can also mute that participant or remove them from the chat if they're being disruptive. And that pin option that we talked about when we first started, that's pin person on the screen, so they're one of the 4 options. This is something that I always use whenever I do like class, like a class, like a webinar for me. I always have this like as my start page because this kind of establishes those ground rules at the beginning, that they're muted and that their sound settings are correct. So this is like a little best practice. Sorry about that. For every team meeting that's set up, it does provide a dial-in number, and that allows for you to have audio conferencing, basically. Audio conferencing gives people the option to call in via telephone so that they don't miss the meeting. Even if they can't see the content being shared because they're not actually on the Teams app, they have the option to still listen in. And the phone number is generated when you create that option there. And these are just some other features. There's live captioning available. Like I could actually turn on live captioning here for me within the Teams option. And then there's that chat option, like I shared, that you guys have been using so nicely with all your chats. I think I have like over like 80 alerts on my phone with chat messages that have been coming through. And yeah, so I just wanted to share those things about the meeting options when you're using the meetings in Teams itself. And the way that you would schedule meetings in Teams, you can use the calendar app within the Teams application. So on Team, and I'm kind of go back and forth here, on your left rail, part of your left rail in the app bar, you have the calendar button. This calendar button is your Outlook calendar, guys. This is your Dade School's Outlook calendar. So it's not clicking very well for me. Yes. So this is your Outlook calendar, and any Teams call that you have, any Teams meeting that you have will show up here. And so like the one that we're in, this is what this is here, and it says join. There's another call that is happening now on my calendar, and notice it says join. So by clicking new meeting, it opens up this window for me to generate that invitation for an online class session for the students to become part of. And that's by using the calendar app. Okay, so that's one option to set up a meeting. The next one is to do a meet now right in a channel. So you could go into a channel and on the bar, just click the option to just meet now, and you can meet right away. The students will be notified that a meeting is happening. And then within the channel itself, there will be like a little icon that looks like that is a camera that the students will see that a meeting is happening. You can also schedule via Outlook. So not using the calendar app, but just going straight to your Outlook and clicking the calendar through Outlook and just setting up the meeting there. Okay. The only thing is when you do it through Outlook, it's not going to add, you would have to add the students' email addresses, and that's going to be tedious. So what I would suggest is set the meeting up in Outlook, copy the details, and then post those details in the channel Some teachers even put it as an assignment so that it goes to every single student, and they add like a little reflection question so that the students can type something in after the meeting just for accountability and even for attendance. So that's one way that other teachers have been using like the Outlook option for creating meetings in Teams. Okay, and so yeah, that's pretty much how you would add sessions, online meeting sessions to a team. And I wanted to share this with you because, you know, understanding a schedule is like super important and to kind of organize your time. So this is something that can be tweaked and just gives you an idea of what that online routine would look like, right? So maybe on Mondays you do your whole class meetings, and then you post your assignments on Tuesdays, and then on Wednesdays you do virtual conferences. Virtual conference would be those individual conferences between you and the students. So they would request them from you, and you could have a whole day focused on just having virtual conferences to help students who may have particular learning needs, and, you know, meet with families if you need to virtually. Then on Thursdays, they have discussion posts. And if you have this kind of routine set up, the students would know what they're supposed to do every single day of the week and what is expected of them. So I just wanted to throw this out there so that you could kind of see what that looks like in a virtual environment. I'm gonna stop right here to see if you all have any questions.
Thanks, Michelle. Actually, that's great, that rules and expectation schedule, because that was something that came up this morning as far as when the kids should be video conferencing with their teachers, because you've got some students that, let's say, are trying to video conference with their second grade teacher, but then they're also, again, second grade, but then maybe they needed to with their special area or their Spanish. And so we were having a lot of overlap. So that's definitely a great thing to have.
And even with the online schedule, I know with elementary, I saw something last night, was really late, so I didn't have time to put it in a slide. But this kind of relates to what was being discussed. Let's say you have a weekly schedule. So Monday is reading and writing, and all online conferences for pre-K, K, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth happens at different time frames on Mondays for reading. So let's say reading and writing, kindergarten goes from 9 to 10, fifth grade goes from 2 to 3. So students will know at 12 o'clock, I'm in second grade, that's when my reading and writing online class is. If I am in math and I'm in first grade, my online class is at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So you have a specific day of the week that is dedicated to a particular subject. So Monday could be reading and writing, Tuesday can be math, Wednesday science, Thursday social studies, and then Friday could be like languages and electives. And then kind of keep into that schedule, kind of give the teachers a break, right?
Right.
If you're reading and math only goes on Mondays, electives only go on Fridays. So you're not trying to be stressed to teach an online class the entire week. So having a schedule like that will really help to give the kids some organization too, and the teachers. So
Michelle, this PowerPoint that you're obviously sharing with us, thank you, by the way, that you're sharing on your screen, is this part of the 2.0 ICP, the continuity plan?
This is some of the content on here that you're actually looking at the presentation. So I'm giving you a sneak peek.
I know. I'm assuming this is part of that famous meeting you had a week ago.
Yeah. So this will be on Thursday and Friday. There will be some courses that are streamed that you can participate in. This one is like a 5-part course that will address a lot of the topics that we've been covering today. So instead of me reinventing the wheel that I created, I'm just giving you all a little peek into some of these things.
Is that something that the district's going to be putting out once you share it with them?
Oh, I've already shared it with them. Yeah, they're going to be making these into like online classes.
Okay, I had a feeling, because I know that this morning a briefing went out that Thursday and Friday, for those teachers who are listening, Thursday, Friday are going to now be PD days. So this is definitely something that they expect, I think, for most of us to log in and do, even though we had the benefit of doing it today with you, Michelle, which again, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So getting a sneak peek. So
this is fantastic.
I think at this point, I'm going to just click on the agenda because I don't have it here. External links. We did talk about how to add students. We did talk about creating assignments. we did talk about how to add external links to your assignments. That's through that resources and clicking link. And can they have students turn in or submit their work in teams? We talked about that. Using add-on apps like Zoom and Whiteboard. Oh, so the Whiteboard, this is what I was going to show you, right?
Yes, I have to say I've been playing with it and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, so when you are in a meeting, you click this option to share your screen right in the middle. When you click that option, you have these different ways that you can share your screen. You can share your entire desktop. I'm actually sharing my entire desktop right now. That way I can click between apps. Like if you notice, I've been clicking in between the PowerPoint and the Teams. If I want to share just the window, I'm only sharing a single app because maybe I just want to show the students a PowerPoint. I don't want to get out of the PowerPoint. This PowerPoint option here that you see, these are all PowerPoints that are not open on my computer, but PowerPoints I've used recently. And if I click it, it will actually give the students like their own copy of the PowerPoint so that they can kind of review at their own pace. If there's a PowerPoint that I want to share with them in that way that's not here, I can click that browse option. Then here, this is where that whiteboard would come in. So I'm gonna unshare and share the whiteboard so you can see what it looks like when it pops in the screen. So you should see it populate right now. And so everyone is able to write on the whiteboard. Once you see it load, you're going to see some pens on the right-hand side. So you can click your colors and you can start writing on the whiteboard. So anybody, just start writing. So this would be a great way for the math teachers and the science teachers to work out problems. Okay, do you guys see the whiteboard?
It's saying it's in progress, not yet.
Still in progress.
Okay, it's coming. So you could share it directly in Teams here through the share screen. The whiteboard is a separate app, right? So if you wanted to just use the app, grab a link from the app and put it in the chat, then the students could work on the whiteboard collaboratively and you could see their work in real time, just in case there's some issues happening with the speed, right? So that's another option, using Whiteboard as the app itself, getting the collaborative link for the whiteboard and putting it in the Teams chat so students can have access to it. Not sure if you're seeing it yet.
No, not yet. But while we wait, another workaround that I was thinking of for the math teachers is they could technically, the teachers wanted, I did a sample this morning, I just haven't uploaded it to our general page, but you could use your phone if you guys are seeing me at all, I don't know. You could, with your phone, literally videotape a notepad in front of you and you can solve the math problems, like actually, like if you were writing on the board, but videotaping your hand and the paper, and then once with that video, you could upload that video to their page, correct, Michelle?
You could. I would say, here's what I would do for a workaround for the whiteboard. I would open up a blank PowerPoint and I would open up the blank PowerPoint slide and I would just ink on that PowerPoint slide because there's a draw option under PowerPoint that allows you to use inking. So you can do it with the PowerPoint itself, or if you're familiar with OneNote, you can just do it with OneNote, where you add a page, you open up OneNote, have a blank page, and you ink on that page. I think I'm gonna unshare the screen because I don't know if you guys have, if it's popping up for you all or not. The whiteboard?
No, not yet. It could be that there just maybe too many of us on with cameras too. I don't know.
It could be. So let me show you. So this here is the option, like if you were using the OneNote, right? So I'm going to draw with touch here. Drawing with my mouse. Okay. Oh. So within the OneNote page, I wanted to show you this cool feature of the math tool OneNote. It doesn't recognize my bad writing. So I have to type in. Okay, so let's try this. This is within the OneNote. OneNote has this great map.
Carrie Vega
Sure.
is now exiting.
So I'm gonna put ink x plus 4 equals 9. Hopefully it can be. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the ink. It didn't take my 4, but if I do ink to math, it will change it to the ink to math. But what I wanted to show you was solve for x. It would actually show the steps for solving for x if it actually was a 4 and not an L1. And so you have these cool tools within OneNote for math that you can use. You could do the inking, or you could just do a plain PowerPoint, have a blank slide, right? New slide, have a blank slide, and then use the draw tools here at the top. Same thing, draw tools, and then work out your problems. The only thing that you won't have here would be the students being able to write on it in real time. This would just be you working out the problem. But when you're using the whiteboard app, you would be able to have the students work out the problem right on the screen with you. And then here, there's like an ink replay. So if you wanted to replay it, it will replay the ink. So if you want,
nice.
Yeah, so that's in PowerPoint. So I would say use that as the workaround for not having the whiteboard accessible, or just altogether just go to Whiteboard, the website Whiteboard, and or the Whiteboard app, which you can download on your device,
Right.
send device, and just grab the link for the whiteboard that you created, put it in the chat, and then in real time you can have the Whiteboard app open and see the students working on it, or just share that whiteboard on the screen.
Can we try sharing the whiteboard one more time? Because I know there was a lot of questions in the conversation about, I don't have it, I don't see it, and I don't think they're understanding that they have to try to share first to get that option to prompt.
Yeah, like if you, I can't.
So if everyone looks at their little bottom toolbar that pops up where it has the camera and the microphone, that middle icon that looks like a little square with an arrow pointing up, that's your share screen. If you were to click that, and I think you're doing it, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
If you were to click that,
here,
the thing is, yeah, but you know what? It's kind of low, so they're probably not seeing it because the toolbar is hiding it. That's why. In that last slide, if you maybe zoom in a little more on that screen, on that slide, if you could zoom in.
Yeah.
So what happens, ladies, is when you hit that share screen, it's supposed to give you an option as to what you want to share. Like, what screen do you want to share? And one of the options it'll give you will be, do you want to share whiteboard?
Can you see that?
I can see where it says math, text online, go math, yes.
Where it says whiteboard right here. No? Oh my gosh. Maybe if I move it up. Got it all?
I'm seeing like a Word document.
What? Okay, sorry, I don't know what's. Oh,
No,
that's
somebody else may have shared their screen, that's why.
Yeah, someone else is sharing their screen.
That's okay.
Gloria. Okay, so do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so you see how it says whiteboard? As when you hit this button, one of the options is whiteboard, and you click it and it puts a blank whiteboard on the screen. Can you guys see that?
I see it. So ladies, if you try, don't everybody share your screen right now, but just hit that share button and you should see that option pop up. You're going to see PowerPoints because you've probably all accessed PowerPoints recently, but it should come up at some point. If it doesn't pop up for them, where could they click to access it? In browse?
It would have, okay, so the reason it would not pop up for them would be if they're in the browser of Teams. They don't have share screen options in the browser. They have to only be in the app version to share screen.
Okay, that could explain it. So those of you that are saying you don't see it, it's probably because you access Teams today through your portal, which is fine, but you're accessing it through a web browser. as opposed to accessing it as an actual application on your desktop. So I would suggest downloading the apps, just like how you would on your phone download Teams through the App Store. On your tablets, you can download from the Microsoft Store the Teams app.
In order to see that share screen, do you have to be in a meeting?
You have to have a meeting started. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
The meeting has to be started.
That's probably why some people aren't seeing it either, because I have the app and that's not there, but I assumed it's because we have to be in a meeting.
Yes, you have to be actively in a meeting like we are now to be able to share your screen.
Right, makes sense.
All right. So is there anything else that I am not I've not talked about? So let me look at your list because I know we're at the end of time. We're at 12:40. Using apps, share screen to showcase your textbook. Yep. We just talked about
one of the questions that I had earlier on, but I was waiting until we were done, is do you have a troubleshooting handout for parents?
There is great news.
You've been busy all week.
And yes, 7 days a week. The Parent Academy, we're actually working with the Parent Academy. We had a call this morning to produce some content for parents to help students with Microsoft Teams. So that information is forthcoming. There is a parent guide to Teams. I will pull that and share it in the chat. That's created by like Microsoft in general. And it's just it's very generic. The one that we're doing with the Parent Academy here in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, it'll be specific to Miami-Dade, like login procedures and those kinds of things. So I would say give that a week. A week, and we would have information for parents. Then in the meantime, I'm just trying to grab that link, but everything on my computer is slowing down now because they see that I'm trying to use like a million apps at the same time, and it just cannot keep up. I'll put it in the chat after we, at some point. So just note that when we end the call, this chat is actually going to still be visible to you. So if you go into your app bar and you click on the chat button, which is the second option from the top, and you can see my computer slowing down.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Here it is. For me, it's here. It'll say DCPS team select staff because that just was the name of the bookings that you made. And so all the questions that were asked are listed here. And I'll put the link to the Parent Academy, like the parent resource that Microsoft has. And I'll put just some other resources for Teams that I'll just share some other quick links there as well.
Fantastic.
And I think, yep.
And then the last question that I had made an asterisk that I said we would ask later, and it actually ties in nicely now, is this same chat that we have for this meeting. Yeah. We've been recording this entire video. That video will stay posted on that chat so that anybody could go back and refer to it, correct?
Okay, so that's going to be tricky because we're not in the same organization. So that kind of gets into Microsoft Stream and how Microsoft Stream works. So let me just kind of share with you real quick. Microsoft Stream is an app that you have accessible to you. This is what it looks like. This red and portal. Yeah. It's an internal platform, meaning you have to be within the organization to use and see videos in there. So you and I are not in the same organization, so I'm gonna have to take the video and download the video and share the video with you so you can view it, because the link.
And I can go back later and I can add it. Yeah. If you share with me that link, I can add it to our chat later, or actually to our Pinecrest one later.
What I'll do is, what I usually do is I download the videos, upload them to like an unlisted YouTube link, and I just post the YouTube link in the chat. That way the link is still there in the chat. But just so you know what Stream is, it's going to be great for you to utilize with your students. And I think this question was asked earlier. How do I grab a link from a video recording? So within a recording, you grab the link and just share it wherever you want. So if you go into Stream will have a list of my content. And under my content, you will see all the videos that you've recorded. in a Teams meeting, for example. And there you can either download the video, you can trim the video, edit the video, you can get the link for the video. Once you grab that link to the video, you can share it in any team, any channel within your organization, and people will be able to view it. So this is a great option for teachers who teach like the same section multiple times. So if I'm doing a call, an online meeting with my period 1, but period 5 and 6 or the afternoon class, it's the same exact content and I don't want to repeat myself, I can just grab the recording, make it an assignment, have an activity tied to it, and require the students to watch the video and answer the questions in the assignment just to make sure that they watch the video, so that the teacher themselves is not just repeating the same content over and over. And just an FYI, you can have up to 250 people in a meeting. So if you wanted to create a meeting and have all your sections join the meeting, you could do that as long as they're under 250 people.
Wonderful. And then teachers, just so that you know, I know I mentioned it earlier. Some may have logged in after I said it, but I'm in the process of recording story hours. So I know pre-K and kinder and even first grade, I'm going to share those links. Actually, the way I've been troubleshooting it, because I've been trying to help library media services with that, and the way that we got around to doing it was through Stream. So I'm able to record myself through Teams, upload it to Stream, and then I can share that link with you. So you will be sometime this week, later this week, if I can find quiet time in this house, to record myself doing library stories. Are there any other questions?
While I have you guys, I do want to show you the Microsoft Educator community in case you're not part of the Microsoft Educator community, because there are courses on the Microsoft Educator community just for Microsoft Teams. And what I can do is I can share a code for you to redeem to get points for our training today. So on the MEC, so it's education.microsoft.com. If you go here to explore courses, and you could just do a search for Teams, there are 2 particular courses that are specific for class teams with what you guys are doing. And it's the Transform Learning with Microsoft Teams. I believe you all received professional development points for that course. I think in that first video that streamed, yes. The first day yes, that we had a break, I think we talked about this course and how you can access this course and get points for it by completing the course and uploading the requirements. So it's Transform Learning with Microsoft Teams. The second one that I recommend is crafting a collaborative learning environment with class teams. So that's another course. So if you go just to the Education Center, you have to sign in with your Office 365 if you don't already have an account, and click Browse Courses. And it really, these courses have great ideas, and they walk you through like the functionalities and the features. There are also resources that will be posted on distancelearning.dadeschools.net for students and for educators for you to access Teams information, for example. And I will share this with you as well. If you would like to have a one-on-one consultation with a Microsoft Learning Consultant, you can go to this site to schedule a time to meet for 15 minutes if you're having Teams questions and issues, and a Microsoft Learning Consultant will be able to assist you with your needs, your Teams needs.
And this is where I booked Michelle today. Anybody who's interested, if you need something more specific or tailored to just your subject area or just maybe your grade level in particular. I know pre-K mentioned they'd be interested in Zoom. So if you guys wanted to do something just as a grade level, you can book here. You just click that link and you can access her calendar.
To clarify, it's only going to be for Microsoft Teams. So if you have a photo question, if you have Zoom questions, that's not going to be addressed here.
Okay.
It will only be for Microsoft Teams questions.
Okay.
Okay. And that is pretty much it in terms of resources. And like I said, I will share, there are 3 sites that are pretty, these 3 sites here. I'm going to put this in the chat for you. They have really to the point videos related to Microsoft Teams, help videos that you can reference, and as a guide for your journey with remote right now. So I put that in the chat. I know quite a transition. You could refer to that. Okay. And
Perfect.
Any more questions, guys? I do have a 1 o'clock.
No, I think we're good. I'm going to put on the chat if anybody has any other questions, they can always just reach out to me.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Lisa.
And feel free to use that bookings. Let me actually put it in the chat. Like, really, don't be shy. Use it. We have it available, and we really want to help you guys with team. So I'm gonna put that in the chat.
Perfect.
And if you took anything from the meeting, be sure to tweet to let them know the wonderful things you guys are doing with teams in your school. It's gonna come out really big, sorry, but
thank you.
All right, guys.
Perfect. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.